are leaving from the Roma Termini, which was originally considered for an insert scene in the 1977 film The Spy Who Loved Me, where James Bond and Anya Masova are traveling on the Sardinia Express from Rome.
That was a delicious meal. Thank you.
Traveling through Europe by train is the best way to get around, especially in Italy. In fact, that's exactly how we got to our next destination.
James Bond and train travel go hand in hand in the original Ian Fleming novels, beginning with Live and Let Die, then Diamonds Are Forever, From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, the short story Risico from his anthology book For Your Eyes Only, and his last novel, The Man with the Golden Gun, all had scenes on trains. The 007 movies have had their own variations of train travel and excitement. There is the famous fight scene between Bond and Grant on the Orient Express in From Russia with Love. The disarming scene between Bond and Teehee in Live and Let Die. The electrifying scene between Bond and Jaws in The Spy Who Loved Me. The balancing circus act in Octopussy. The explosive scene in GoldenEye. The sexual tension between Bond and Vesper in Casino Royale.
So as charming as you are, Mr. Bond, I will be keeping my eye on our government's money and off your perfectly formed house.
You noticed.
Taking the bloody shot in Skyfall. And the expulsion of an uninvited dinner guest in Spectre.
Shoot.
Fortunately, our tour group did not have any confrontations with evil spies on the rails to the Tuscan city of Siena. One does wonder how James Bond travels so well. It was nearing nightfall when we arrived, and after dropping off our luggage at the Hotel Minerva, we quickly went to a nice restaurant in the heart of the city. The name of the place is the Antica Trattoria Pape, and the food there is excellent. This was also a great time to sit and talk with other Bond fans in our group, since we really did not have that much time to get acquainted in Rome. Dinner was over by 10 p.m., and we all went back to our hotel rooms for a well-deserved rest. The next morning was Monday, September 8th. We were out combing the city of Siena in search of trinkets, food, and memories. Our guides for Ciao 007 are Matt and Janine Sherman. Together, they have been doing James Bond location tours for over 30 years. Their website, BondFanEvents.com, is an independent worldwide tour guide company specializing in James Bond film and book locations. They led us to the shell-shaped civic town center known as the Piazza del Campo, the place where the town has its biannual Palio horse race. The Palio is a medieval horse race held twice a summer in Siena, on July 2nd and August 16th, featuring 10 of Siena's 17 rival districts, or Contradas. The Palio is a bareback 3-lap sprint around the piazza that lasts about 90 seconds. The race itself has religious significance and is dedicated to the Virgin Mary and culminates in the winning Contrada being awarded a painted silk banner known as the Drappellone. Preceding the race is a historical procession and numerous trial runs, and the event is as much about intense rivalry and honor as it is about the competition itself.
It's time to get out.
In the 2008 James Bond film Quantum of Solace, 007 brings the mysterious Mr. White back to the MI6 safe house located in Siena. After being briefed about the death of Vesper, Bond and M interrogate Mr. White only to be surprised that M's security agent, Craig Mitchell, is working for the enemy organization known as Quantum.
The first thing you should know about us is that we have people everywhere. Am I right?
A fast-cutting chase has Bond running after Mitchell, played by Glenn Foster, through the sewers of Siena and eventually to the piazza itself during the height of the Palio race. In true Ian Fleming travelogue fashion, Matt and Janine took us to a specialty shop within 30 yards of where the Palio takes place. The Siena Tartufi, or Siena Truffles, is located at number 6 Vicolo del Poleoli, in one of the tunnel outskirts of the piazza. It is owned by Signor Alessandro Pellegrini. Here we were treated to some homegrown truffles, meat, and cheese samples, which were all delicious. As you can see from the photos on his shop's wall, Alessandro has his own dogs hunting for ripe truffles, which are deep underground and very valuable. Only a trained dog can find them since humans do not have a high sense of smell to seek them out. When Alessandro's dogs find them, he then brings them back to his shop for culinary purposes. After buying some jars of sauce, we headed over to the Ceramica Artistica Santa Caterina, which translates into English as Santa Caterina Artistic Ceramics. This shop has existed since 1949, and in 1961 it was acquired by sculptor and ceramist Marcello Neri and has decorated thousands of Sienese and tourist homes from around the world. Today, the tradition is carried on by Marcello's son, Fabio, a local artist who has created works of art for many famous people, including the Pope. Everything he sells is handcrafted and proudly represents the culture of Siena. The tour group gathered for lunch in a private residence where we were introduced to one of our Siena experts, Shauna Mason.
My tutor's name was James Bond. I wish I were kidding. It's absolutely true. And like, this man never owned a cell phone in his life, and he used to get phone calls at his home in like rural Warwickshire asking if he was the real James Bond. No, it's pussy galore.
Miss Mason is editor-at-large for Frontrunner magazine and a contributor to the International Journal of James Bond Studies. Shauna provided for us a table full of wonderful food to eat while we gazed out the window overlooking the piazza. I was particularly interested in the pre-production of Quantum and asked her about the window Daniel Craig was seen looking out from, observing the Palio in August 2007. Shauna was kind enough to point out this little trivial portal. The window is on the northwestern side of the piazza and is the middle part of the building just below some zebra-colored bricks. Daniel Craig was there with his former fiancée and producer, Sasuke Mitchell, and a second unit film crew shooting the Palio, which would then be edited in between shots of the foot chase later. Several of our tour group and I were on a quest to find the manhole cover where Daniel Craig climbs out. One possibility was a bronze plaque on the street area of the piazza. Obviously, I was not even close, but Matt eventually showed us the true location. It is near the Fanta Gaia fountain. This cascading shrine was completed in 1342, after hydraulic construction had led water to the site. Underground pipes brought water from 15 miles away, which makes sense that this is where Mitchell and Bond come out of from a water-drenched tunnel below the street. You can see where it is in these photos, and the time and money spent preparing to shoot what ended up only being a 4-second shot. Just look at the removal of the stone and the placement of film equipment. The cost of a union crew involved, hundreds of extras, insurance, catered food services, makeup, costumes, and bathroom breaks explain why a James Bond film can cost hundreds of millions of dollars to make. From there, our group walked down to the entrance of the Palazzo Pubblico, the civic center of Siena, and the entranceway where Mitchell is seen running into while trying to escape from Bond. The civic center also happens to have a theater stage called the Teatro dei Rinnovati. This place has a little-known connection to James Bond. It is where actor Adolfo Celli, who played villain Emilio Largo in 1965's Thunderball, was performing and directing a play called I Misteri di Pietro Borgo, or The Mysteries of Petersburg, when he succumbed to a fatal heart attack on February 19, 1986, just hours before the play was to premiere. One of the biggest surprises of our tour was being shown the stairwell where Bond chases Mitchell and causes a little old woman to fumble the pulley she is operating, making her to drop a box of groceries. This scene lasts about 14 seconds in total, but it remains a memorable moment due to the woman getting upset over the loss of her produce. For us Bond fans, it was a memorable moment to visit. The next location was the first shot in the film of the city of Siena, where James Bond drives his Aston Martin down the street. The wrong way. Notice the street signs on both sides of the walls telling drivers that this is a one-way street. Those signs were removed for the movie, which gave the director the opportunity to use a wire rig camera system called a GoCam, as we eventually are shown this magnificent medieval center. We were also introduced to art historian and local tour guide, Miss Claudia Cesar. Her expertise was greatly appreciated by our group as she explained the different Contradas with their own colorful flags and water fountain mascots. The flags are proudly displayed on nearly every street during and after the Palio race, well into September. Claudia is from the Aquila Contrada, or the double-headed black eagle. Their flag is yellow, trimmed with blue and black. In true Fleming fashion, where the novels and the movies would describe and show unique cultural celebrations, the most important thing to remember about the Palio is that it is not a tourist event, and that it is not a show put on for outsiders.
No matter what happens now, say and do nothing.
Claudia enthusiastically invited us into her community and to the Aquila Contrada Museum, where we were privileged and honored to see the museum, which is traditionally open to outsiders only during the months of December and January. This museum was filled with antiques, armor, costumes, and the many winning Drappellones over the years. A treasure trove of beautiful artwork and home to the oldest surviving Drappellone, which dates from 1719. It also has its own chapel where the chosen horse is blessed before the race. The evening arrived, and just like a James Bond film would show cultural festivities such as the Junkanoo and Thunderball, the Carnival and Moonraker, or the Gypsy Camp in From Russia with Love, we were invited to the Aquila Outdoor Barbecue Celebration, an event that is not open to foreigners. Food, drinks, and music dominated the evening festivities as this Contrada shared their pride and joy. Children played a racing game where adults would make bets for charity on different Contrada-colored balls. 17 balls are released at the top of this platform and rolled to the finish line at the bottom. As the games continued, our evening came to an end and we all said our goodbyes to Claudia. The next morning was Tuesday, September 9th, and we wasted no time at all as we walked to the last of the Quantum locations. Matt took us to the street areas of the rooftop chases, where Daniel Craig, attached to a safety cable and crane, made several long jumps to balconies. Do you notice anything missing? There is only one balcony. The production design team installed numerous balconies along the walls of these buildings, so Craig could land and run along them.
And action!
This chase scene along the rooftops was originally to be built as a street scene at Pinewood Studios, but after ordering thousands of roof tiles and realizing that they would need to rely on an abundance of CGI effects, they abandoned the idea due to the rising cost. Ironically, Quantum of Solace is the shortest Bond movie at 106 minutes, and the most expensive ever made per minute of final film. The streets were flooded with cranes, not only for Daniel Craig's and Glenn Foster's safety support, but also for the aerial camera rigs, which followed them along the roofline. We also visited the area where Daniel jumped from a window and onto a moving bus. As Bond chases Mitchell up a bell tower, the movie moves back to Pinewood Studios. The bell tower is a recreation of the one at the Siena Cathedral. You can tell from the black and white striped marble. The action continues with Bond and Mitchell falling through the glass roof of a fictional art gallery or museum. Originally, this glass ceiling finale was intended for a previously produced Bond film and was supposed to be filmed in Venice, but the script and location changed and the scene was dropped. The real bell tower is nowhere near a glass roof building, but it is near the cathedral's dome. The reason the production chose not to film inside the bell tower was out of respect for its Catholic history. Originally consecrated in 1179 and built between 1215 and 1263, it was envisioned to become the largest cathedral in the world. During the 14th century, plans were made to expand the nave, but due to the Black Plague, the weak building materials, and the shallow foundation, the project was abandoned. The cathedral has remained unfinished for nearly 650 years. We had an opportunity to tour inside this breathtaking structure. Just look at all the beautiful art, sculptures, and marble throughout. Have you ever seen such a magnificent pulpit as this one? Carved by Nicola Pisano between 1265 and 1268, it is widely considered one of the world's most important and masterful works of Gothic sculpture. Its intricate design, classical influences, and narrative panels are celebrated for their beauty and skillful execution, and it is often cited as a key work that influenced the Italian Renaissance. Our last location is the entranceway to the MI6 safe house in Quantum of Solace, where we see Bond driving his Aston Martin into the building. Located at the Piazzetta della Pagliata, as you can see, the double doors are different than the ones seen in the film, but the interior is a very long tunnel, and what you see in the film is exactly the way the tunnel is. Unfortunately, we were not allowed to go inside, but you can see that the tunnel is used for storage. The second time we see these doors is when Bond walks back to the safe house after killing Mitchell. He finds the safe house room empty and Mr. White gone. And speaking about Mr. White, he would make another appearance, as well as other members of the Quantum organization, at the Opera House in Bregenz, Austria. The opera they are attending is Giacomo Puccini's Tosca, and Bond has infiltrated the meeting during the closing minutes of the third and final act, which takes place on stage inside the prison fortress known as Castel Sant'Angelo. That is the building we last saw in Rome before we left for Siena.
Well, Tosca isn't for everyone.
That evening, our tour group enjoyed one last Siena meal, and my wife and I made wonderful memories and new friends. As we prepare to leave this Tuscan joy and travel northeast to the floating city known as Venice. In the meantime, go and check out BondFanEvents.com for past and upcoming tours.